Hello and welcome to the Digital Minute, the radio show for the latest in pop culture and gaming news, reviews, and interviews. My name is Elohim Barahona, Los Angeles. We've got a wonderful guest for you here tonight. I'm so excited to have him introduce himself. Can you introduce yourself, good sir?
Yeah, what's up, Elohim? My name is Dave Oshry, and I'm the CEO of New Blood Interactive.
And let me tell you guys, New Blood, amazing publishing house in the gaming industry. These guys do amazing work. They have amazing games that come out. I'm talking Dusk. I'm talking Gloomwood, Faith. They just do amazing work. And these are games that have stuck with me, ever since I've tried them. They do great work. And I want to talk to Dave here tonight about his work that he does at New Blood and the work that his people do as well. So, Dave, let's just start off. Where did New Blood start? What's the origin?
Me and a couple of my buddies, we had just come off working on a project, at kind of like a double A studio that wasn't, for those of you who don't know, like there's indie games, there's triple A games, like the big, Spider-Man type games. And then in the middle, there's kind of like double A, which is, it's a mess normally. And we had come off that. We didn't have a great time. And we were like, let's start our own start our own studio, with blackjack and hookers. Can I say that on the radio? And we originally wanted, what was happening right then, this was about like 2013, 2014. We wanted to VR was really popping off for the first time. The first Oculus Quest had just come out. And we were like, let's do this. We want to do a VR boxing game like Punch Out, like the old Punch Out games, like Punch Out for Wii, and then obviously Super Punch Out for Super Nintendo, one of my favorite games because I'm old. And we just started going with that, and we were getting pretty close. We talked to the Oculus guys. We were going to have it. It's a game called Haymaker. It never came out. If you go and look at our YouTube, we did a 10-year. We've been around for 10 years now, and we just did a 10-year anniversary video, and we showed for the first time like gameplay of that canceled boxing VR game that we had called Haymaker, and it didn't really pan out. One of our programmers left. We were just getting started. We didn't have any money. But then, we kind of slowly transitioned into a publisher. We were looking to make like a pixel shmup game, a shoot 'em up game, like a top down, little spaceship shooter game. And we were looking for a pixel artist, and we found this dude on Reddit who was, he was really good. And he was like, yo, if you help me, he had a game that was on Kickstarter. And he's like, if you help me with this, I'll come and work on the game you want. And I was like, yeah, sure. And we took it on. We, helped the Kickstarter. Ended up getting like 2,000% funded, and that became the first game we published, Super Galaxy Squadron. And that was 10 years ago. And over the 10 years since then, we ended up becoming more into first-person shooters ever since we got involved with a dude called David Szymanski, who's done Dusk and now Iron Lung and Squirrel Stapler and all kinds of games. He's making, the Iron Lung movie with Markiplier that's coming out next year. And from that, it kind of snowballed. Dusk, Medieval, Ultra Kill, Faith, Gloomwood, Fallen Aces. It's been wild the last 10 years, the games we put out. And, the thing about New Blood is all these people that have come to work from us, they stuck around. So now we're just like a big group of friends making games and living all over the world and doing whatever the heck we want.
And I think that's the best way to make games, wouldn't you say? Just, with friends. You want to like get along and
that's the dream, man. Like if you ever hear people talk about like their company, like, oh, we're a family, that's a cult. You run away, run in the other direction. But with New Blood, it's really like we're friends. Like the New Blood Discord, our internal Discord's like one big group chat, man. It's just like, and that's how it's been for years. And like we've never hired anybody, we've never fired anybody. It's just like it's literally just like everybody just kind of stuck around, and we do the kind of stuff we want to do. Like the only thing we're motivated by is doing dope stuff.
And you guys make, like, sincerely, you guys really do make some of the dopest stuff ever. I was on Ultra Kill, like, every night during the, I think it was one of the more recent patches where, it's that second Gabriel fight.
Yeah. Yeah, Layer 7, yeah.
Layer 7.
Or 6, sorry.
One of the hardest things I had played in a while.
Yeah, man, it's hard, but the cool thing about Ultra Kill is we have so many options that you could turn the difficulty down. So it's almost like how fighting games have a training mode.
Oh yeah.
We've got that kind of stuff. So like because we don't want it to just be hard.
Oh,
you suck, you lose, you die. Mm-hmm. We want you to master the systems and master the tech in the game and get to a point where you can beat it on easy, you could beat it on normal, you could beat it on brutal, and then like next thing you know, you're like, wow, I'm actually really good at this.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of games don't, especially hard games, don't teach you how to get better at them. But we want people to, train and get really good at Ultra Kill, and I think that's why it's got such a um, like a fan base that loves it so much, because it's like a fighting game style fan base where people are always trying to find, the best ways to do to do these fights and learn how to get better at the game and get the highest score, and get those P ranks and the secret bosses, and plus all the character designs and the lore. It's just it's a deep game.
It really is. And Hakita does. Shout outs to Hakita. My guy Hakita works hard.
He
works
does
really hard.
super hard. I've never met him. I've never seen his face, and I love that. It's There's a whole team working on Ultra Kill. Obviously, he's the lead on it. He does most of the design and everything. But we've got tons of great artists on the game, animators. It's a and then the New Blood QA team making sure everything goes out testing relatively bug free, because we're big on that. We don't want to put out buggy games that perform badly. So we're just like a well-oiled machine.
You guys really are. And what is a well-oiled machine, in this day and age without money, right? You guys have this amazing slogan that I just want to talk about. And I
we
know
hate money.
We hate money, right? We hate money. Can you talk about that a little?
Well, we don't actually hate money, right? Like we like to eat, we like to have nice things, we like to be able to provide for our families, but like it means we don't chase money, we don't chase trends. We're not looking at like, oh, what's the hot new thing we could jump on? Oh, this will make us a lot of money. Oh, let's make sure we get into some AI or crypto BS. Like, definitely not. Like, we do what we do. Honestly, if at this point, for the love of the game, that could be our slogan too, but that's like kind of been said and been done, so when we say we hate money, it means we don't chase money, we don't chase trends. We're not doing like roguelike deck builder survival crafting games because we know they'll make a lot of money. Like the games that we make, the genre that we do, whether it's boomer shooters or stealth games or immersive sims, are some of the least popular genres in gaming.
Yeah.
But we make the best ones, and because we are good at what we do, we have cultivated enough of an audience and a fan base to be successful with that. So like we're lucky enough to like not have to chase a bag, but like we still do well because we make the dopest stuff that we can. So like that's what, when we say we hate money, we don't actually hate money, and like, money's all right. You need money, but like it means we don't chase it. We're not driven by money. We're not like, what's going to make us the most money? What platform should we ship on? Should we do an exclusive, because they're going to give us millions of dollars? Like, we don't think like that. We're motivated by making the coolest stuff and by people being like, yo, I love all your games. I love New Blood games. I bought one, and then I bought, like, I got some data from a dude that runs GameDiscover.co, which is a really great newsletter if you're into like analytics and stuff about games. And like for the most part, I'm not a numbers guy. Like I don't care. I see like bank account go up. I'm like, all right, we must be doing okay. And he said like the average player of our games owns like 4 of our games, which is like unheard of.
I mean, like guilty as charged right here.
Yeah.
I think I own. So and off the top of my head, I definitely own Dusk. That was the first thing I bought.
Yeah.
Dusk, Gloomwood, Ultra Kill. I have Faith. Amid Evil. And Fallen Aces actually.
Yeah. New Blood games are a gateway drug to more New Blood games. Oh. And it's funny because people like they talk about us like it's like our own genre, like New Blood games. And the thing I like to say is like a New Blood game is a New Blood game because it only ever could have been a New Blood game. You look at any game that we've published and developed, it's like only you guys could have done that. With the FPS trilogy and now the stealth trilogy, because we just added Blood West, our friends at Hyper Strange, and now we've got 2 really crazy horror games, Faith and now Tenebris Somnia from Argentina, which is with the live action cutscenes, and that's just a crazy project unto itself. Like nobody else is doing that. Who's doing live action FMV games anymore? You haven't seen that stuff since the 90s. So it's the kind of stuff that we do is the kind of stuff that we want to do, and that was the mission statement with me and my buddies in my apartment when we started this thing 10 years ago. Like, we just want to make the dopest stuff.
You guys really do make the dopest stuff. I mean, that's your philosophy, right? Just make the dopest stuff.
Yeah, the kind of stuff you want to bring home to your mama.
I mean, I don't know if I'd bring, I don't know, maybe not Faith.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends how she feels about, the church.
Yeah. maybe that's for a different interview, right? But it's good to hear that you guys are so passionate about games, and it really is appreciated just given the current state of things. And
Yeah.
I just want to pick your brain a little bit, Dave. What's your take on the industry as it is right now currently?
I mean, it's easier than ever to make games. It's harder than ever to get them noticed at the AAA level. It sucks. Layoffs are everywhere. There is no job security. There are no unions. It's there is. You could work on the biggest game in the world. You could work on World of Warcraft. You could work on Destiny. You can work on games at Sony, and you could get laid off as soon as that game ships. You could win a BAFTA and you could get laid off. You could sell 5 million copies and you could get laid off. There is no security no matter how good you are at your job. So like at the top level, it sucks. At the indie level, there's no money for anybody. There's no money for people like who are making cool games but need a publisher or something to get their game going because the bubble burst after the pandemic and all the investors and everybody spent all their money and then they dumped it into dumb stuff like crypto or AI or whatever. They want to get rich quick. They're not they don't invest in games as an artistic medium like film. They don't see it like that. They think it's a product. They're like, I give you this much money, I should get this much money back. It should be done in like 6 months, right? Like that's not how it works.
It's really not.
Games are an artistic endeavor like films or book or anything else. Books or like book or music. It's like you wouldn't give somebody some money and be like, I mean you would if if you what do you mean, where's the album? Where's the album? I need this album out.
Right.
The best artists in the world, you can't rush this kind of stuff. You can't rush greatness. You can't rush creativity, and games need to be viewed the same way. So there's so much great stuff. There's great stuff. There are great big AAA games. There's also a lot of slop. There's a lot of live service slop BS. There've been a lot of high profile failures, but at the indie level, there's so much great stuff. At the AA level, kind of in between, if you go looking, there is a game out there for you, whatever your taste is. And it's easier than ever to play them. Steam, and now with the handhelds, PC gaming is bigger than ever. On the consoles, like Xbox has had a bad year, but Game Pass is still like the craziest deal. That should be illegal. The stuff that I've picked up, there's so many games that I wouldn't have played if it wasn't for Game Pass. Now Netflix is getting into games, kind of the same thing. I think what I've said for a long time is games is kind of going the same way music went, which is sad. The Spotify model.
Yeah.
Where artists and developers are just gonna, we're gonna have to. Everything will be on a streaming service, and if you're not, part of that streaming service, nobody will see your games, and you'll end up getting paid pennies on the dollar for the amount of hours people play your games. Like I'm worried we're going to like the Spotify of games. I've been saying that for years, and like it's kind of looking like it. So it's weird, like in terms of creativity and the amount of games that are out there and the kind of stuff that the breadth and the depth of games, it's awesome, but the industry itself from a business perspective is cooked. It is so cooked.
It really looks that way. I mean, we had Suicide Squad fail not too long
That
ago.
was a huge WB. It's like, imagine like it's these giant. WB cannot put out a good game to save their life. Google
really
cannot
can't.
put out a good game to save their life. Amazon, these companies with trillions of dollars cannot put together a game studio and put out a good video game because to them it's product. It's, what do you mean? We just more money, more people. How come game no do great? It's like that's not how you make a great game. The best games are made by the same teams that have been together for a long time that have been making these great games, and we're losing some of those studios. Studios like Arcane and Roll7. That got shut down, earlier this year, and they had made some great stuff, and like, it sucks. The guys that made Hi-Fi Rush,
Thankfully, they got saved.
they got shut down, then they got saved, which was crazy because somebody realized like this studio is worth saving. If this team knows how to make games, they had made a ton. They had made 3 or 4 awesome games. They made Evil Within 2. Ghostwire Tokyo, and then like totally flipped and made Hi-Fi Rush, and it was a commercial success.
Yeah.
It was a critical success.
Yep.
It was a big win for Game Pass,
Oh, yeah.
and they still got shut down
Really?
because the Microsoft had that big acquisition, the huge Activision Blizzard deal, and then what happens is this is what always happens with mergers and executions or mergers and acquisitions. Once they go through, the accountants, they open up the books and they take a look and they see like, all right, where can we got to balance this, we got to get rid of, we got to number must go up. So they go, okay, this didn't make money, that didn't make money, this studio's got to go, that studio's going to go, and it doesn't matter. Like there were people, they fired like 1,900 people at Blizzard after that went through. That's a ton of people, and a lot of these were people who like just signed their contract, just moved to Irvine, California, just got an apartment.
Yep.
And they get there and they're like, sorry, your job has been made redundant.
Yeah.
Like, it's a crazy industry. This doesn't happen in any other industry that makes makes this much money. Games is bigger than music, movies, and there's no job security. It's wild.
It really is. It's like from one moment to the next, you have these people making a hit. Like Bungie laid off a ton of people
Yep.
too after the final shape, and I
Yeah, and
played
that was
that.
it was like that was the best Destiny. Everybody said like I'm not a Destiny player, but they said Final Shape like it was they nailed it. They came back. It was like the best Destiny expansion in a long time. It's like cool, thanks. Now you're all fired.
Exactly. It's crazy to me because I played the final shape and it's fantastic,
Uh,
and just to see all that talent just get kicked to the curb really
it's
frustrating.
crazy because at the end of the day, it's
It
just
really
they're
is.
just numbers on a spreadsheet, man.
And that's the tough thing. It's really hard to
Yeah.
think that such a creative medium like video games is treated like a commodity and just numbers on a paper.
Yeah.
And do you ever foresee this? Do you foresee this getting better anytime
I
soon?
don't know, man. Like I'm not trying to change the world. What we do at New Blood is like, I love what we do, and like we're good. Me and my people and my developers and the people who play our games. Like, you could try. Like, we're not gonna sell out. We're not gonna go public. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing until we don't feel like doing it anymore, and then I'm gonna retire and go fishing. But like that's just us. We're just a small company of like 30, 40 people. Like,
Right.
I just like the problem is like at the bigger companies, it's like it's a problem with capitalism. It requires the person at the top to kind of be a good person, and like we cannot count on bosses and CEOs to be good people. Shout out Luigi. We need more. I think we need some more Luigis out there. But it's tough. Like I don't have the answers. Like I know what we're doing, and I'm proud of what we're doing,
Hmm.
and I'm proud of that everybody that works at New Blood and works for me can eat, even though we hate money. We do well. The fact that we can make the kind of stuff we want to make and be successful, and that everybody in our orbit is taken care of, that's a
Hmm.
win for me in my life. If I can make sure that 40 people are taken care of over like 20 years or whatever it is, and to see my developers, get married, have families, have children, buy houses, live
Hmm.
well, and still be able to make their art. Like, I know I'm doing good stuff. I know we're doing good stuff.
Right.
So the best that I could, like, I can't save the world. I can't save the industry, but the least I can do is just try to set a good example, because like what we're doing is working. There's no reason the way New Blood runs can't work at a bigger level. You just got to try it. We The way our business runs is the complete opposite of like any other publisher or developer that I've ever met. I've had lawyers tell me that I'm crazy when I tell them the percentages and how we pay people. They're like, nobody does that. I'm like, works for us. And we don't fight with anybody. We have no stress. Our games are good. Our games sell well. Our players are happy. My
Hmm.
developers are happy. So maybe what you're doing is backwards.
I mean, would surprise, when you treat people well, they put out good things.
Yeah.
When they have a healthy environment to thrive in, we get stuff like Dusk or Gloomwood or Ultra Kill or Faith or
Yeah.
Fallen Aces. And really, they really are like some of the most creative things I've ever seen. Like, you
Yeah.
wouldn't,
It's
1950s gangster shooters.
Yeah, it's the kind of
Now.
stuff that like the people would not invest in the kind of games that we make. Never, it would never happen. They are not easy wins. They are not games that are guaranteed to make money. They would not bring shareholder value.
Right.
It's indie stuff. But the same thing with movies. People talk about their favorite movies. It's usually some indie stuff, and indie movies will pop off, whether it's like on the horror side with something like Terrifier.
Hmm.
These movies that are like super fun but made super cheap but make a ton of money. Or stuff like on the like at the Pearl and X over on the A24 side of
Right.
things, or stuff like indie films, like stuff like The Whale. These are some of like the biggest things, and it's not. And meanwhile, like on the other side, you've got the corporate Marvel slop, and next like Madam Web bomb. Craven the Hunter came
Yeah.
out today, and
Yeah.
yo, like
Oh.
we are in a golden age of slop.
Oh,
Of
absolutely.
9% on Rotten Tomatoes, for those of you who don't know. I didn't even know it was out. I don't even know who Craven the Hunter is. I know, but like not really. Is it worth making a whole movie about this dude?
Probably not.
Yeah, apparently not, because it's another bomb. It's like, man, it's just everything's either a sequel or a part of a cinematic universe,
Yeah.
because they're just looking for like easy wins and shareholder value and not trying to make art. Meanwhile, you can get a movie like The Substance, which just came out, which was so good, or Longlegs, which was a big hit this year. Like, you're getting the indie horror movies are just like they had a great couple of years,
Yeah.
and there's no reason why, you know, games can't be the same way. And there are on the indie level, like the stuff that we're doing, and there's a lot of games like Mouthwashing that came out that's doing
Oh,
really really well.
I still
You
have to
know,
play that.
yeah, and a lot of stuff. If you look at like the Indie Game Awards this year, the BAFTAs, stuff like Pacific Drive, which is really narrative focused. There's so much good stuff out there. Like, listen, I every once in a while I like my AAA slop. I love my Black Ops 6. Every once in a while I'll get in
Hmm.
there from some rounds. Fortnite's crazy. But like if you expand your horizons and look at the indie scene, that's where you're gonna find the really good stuff.
I mean, yeah, and the indie scene is just it's pretty deep,
You know,
for what it is, and there's just so many creative forms of expression there. Like I just have been playing through Hylix too.
yeah. Oh my God, I
Oh,
love Hylix, man.
Hylix.
Nathan's working on 3.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude. I wanted to interview him, but on his website he says
He doesn't.
does
Yeah,
not know
he's so
interviews.
based. He's like no PR, no interviews,
Yeah,
no nothing.
and I
And he
respect it.
and he's a true artist, man. He
Oh,
does all that stuff with the claymation by himself. I would love to work on Hylix. I love 1, I love 2, and 3. I think it's gonna be crazy.
I
Yeah,
hope
and
so too.
him and Chuck, doing the music. That's the kind of stuff.
Chuck
Yeah,
does amazing work.
yeah.
They both really do because it's nothing. It's like nothing you've ever seen, right?
No, and these games are made on Game Maker.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, there's a pretty similar, called Felvedek,
Hmm.
which is very similar to Hylix. That's kind of that same JRPG style, but set in like medieval Estonia.
Yeah.
And it's like the music and the art is like nothing you've ever seen. And these games are made on Game Maker, a really simple game engine that they're like pushing to its limits. There's so much cool stuff once you get out of the bubble of like, your Maddens and your FIFAs and your Call of Duties and your
Hmm.
Assassin's Creeds and, whatever, the serialized yearly franchise that you've been preconditioned to play. Like, there's nothing wrong with playing 2K and stuff like that, but there's stuff you will find that you probably like better, and there's super addictive stuff out there too, stuff like Balatro, which is
Oh.
essentially crack.
Let me tell you about
That's why it's
Balatro.
nominated for Game of the Year.
I want it to win Game of the Year.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it should.
sincerely,
It
it
is the
really
game
should.
of the year. The funny thing is, everybody who was dunking on it for like, why is this card game
Hmm.
game of the year? And then they go and play it, and they're like, Dave Chappelle, when he's doing his crackhead thing, he's like, y'all got any more Balatro? It's like it's that addictive, and it's that because like every once in a while, like a new Tetris comes out.
Oh
Like a
yeah.
game that is just so like it's a simple puzzle game, and like Balatro's not simple, Tetris isn't simple. I mean, it is, but it's not.
Yeah.
But it's a game that's just it's on everything. You could play it on your phone, you could play it on your PlayStation, your
Hmm.
Xbox. It's just so simple and so addictive. Where it's like this is a game. Game of the year doesn't have to be the game that cost $500 million. Doesn't have to be Red Dead, GTA. It can be a game that you play on your phone that you've got a bajillion hours in. Stuff like Balatro, stuff like Vampire Survivors,
Hmm.
which spawned a whole subgenre.
Yeah.
There's Vampire Survivors likes
Hmm.
is a whole subgenre of itself.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of stuff that's out there. If you're listening to this and you're only playing like the mainstream games, start playing some indie games, man. Start, get on Game Pass, get on a Steam Deck,
Hmm.
get into PC gaming, and just there's so many games out there that you're missing out on.
You really will have a good time with the indies, and and Dave, I just want to really thank you for taking the time to talk to me here,
Yeah, man.
and share with me your thoughts on the industry and your love of indie games and what you guys do at New Blood.
Yeah.
I sincerely respect what you guys do. If people wanted to find you on socials and look into New Blood and what you guys do, where can they look for you guys?
We're pretty much at New Blood everywhere, on YouTube, on Twitter, on I guess Bluesky now, Instagram. At Dave Oshry everywhere, and just our website is wehate.money. So if you want to see our games, hit up wehate.money, and if you want to waste some money on our merchandise, it's waste.money. And I love my URLs. If you want to play Dusk, it's notfortnite.com. If you want to play Gloomwood, it's notbloodborne.com. So Ultra Kill DevilMayQuake.com. We love our silly URLs because people can remember them. It helps when you go on the radio because people be like, I can remember that.
Oh yeah, you totally will remember that. That's how I remembered Ultra Kill actually.
Devil May Quake.
Devil
Yeah,
May
that
Quake.
was
That
yeah,
one
and
will stick with you.
Gloomwood was Thief with Guns.
Hmm.
Listen, for $9.99 a year, I can buy a very silly domain name, and that's what we call marketing, kids.
And that is money well spent,
Yes.
in my opinion. And that is New Blood for you guys. Amazing company, amazing CEO.
Thank you, man.
Thank you very much, Dave, for joining me tonight. I sincerely appreciate it. And thank you guys who are listening to the Digital Minute tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. I hope you guys drive home safe while you're here in LA. Shout outs to Balatro.
Shout outs Balatro.
Shout outs Balatro, and shout outs New Blood as well. Have a good night. I love you all, and take care.